if you want to create content with an expert in that area, you need to show that you're a disciple of that craft. Like you want to do stuff with WordPress? Okay, who are the top people in WordPress? You better show that at least you've tried to make some WordPress websites, or you've tried to do the thing. Because if you haven't at least tried to do the thing, even if that guy says, "Oh yeah, I'll be on your podcast," you have no basis of conversation.
We focus a lot, Dennis, here on podcast guesting and all the different benefits of that, lead generation and SEO benefits and all that. But I think one of the key ones besides relationship building, which is what I want to come back to and talk about for a few minutes, is this idea of borrowed credibility, right? So just to throw out an example, you already said, I was on Digital Marketers Podcast. So I actually became friends with Mark DeGrasse as a result. And now as Mark's went on to do new things, I've had him on this podcast. And so that relationship has had its own capital. But the fact that I was on that podcast gave me a ton of credibility and very directly led to me speaking on stage at Traffic and Conversion Summit this year about building a marketing flywheel with podcast guesting. So to your point, like I was a quote unquote nobody in the digital marketing space. I was doing some cool work, but very much under the radar. But that being on that show and then having that not only that relationship, but the credibility that comes from that is like people associate Dustin with Mark. Mark's the president of Digital Marketer at the time. Maybe Dustin should be asked about what he could contribute to our conference. And yeah, so I'm a living example of doing this over and over and over again. And I consider a lot of this sort of, I put it in a category of amplification. So you got something really good. You've got a great relationship, a great opportunity. How can more and more people know about it? So before that, and I can kind of like hear the question of my audience, like, hey, great. If I know Dennis, or if I've got a mentor, or I've got this amazing podcast opportunity and I get the goods, I can go amplify it with $1 a day. What about the part before that, right? And so you work with a lot of young up and coming marketing people and really smart people. What's your advice to sort of build the building blocks of the relationships in the first place? Like, how do you grow a network? How do I find a mentor before I have the clay to go build, amplification and $1 a day and all that stuff? So more like even before that, like how do I build what's a good strategy for building my network and my kind of core relationships in a new space?
Well, you have to decide what you want. Otherwise, there's no basis for mentorship. Otherwise, like, why would you ask them to be on your show or whatever it is? Like, there has to be some reason, legitimately, authentically, to connect. So my buddy Harrison Gevirtz, he started working with me when he was 14. He's 30 now, 29. Wow. And he's one of the biggest names in affiliate marketing, has a platform, and he's like basically the competitor to CallRail. Like they're the leader in paid calls. Anyway, he wanted to be the affiliate marketer. And so we went around to all these different conferences and spoke about how we were running Facebook ads together. And we'd log in and show Facebook ads on the screen. And because of that, all these other people that wanted to run Facebook ads wanted to connect with us. But remember, he was a nobody. And I was well known in the world of Facebook ads. He and I were doing it together when the whole thing started.
Sure.
But it was very easy because anyone who needed help with Facebook ads or who was knowledgeable in Facebook ads, we had a clear connection. So I said like, hey, Alex Schultz, who basically was the CMO of Facebook at the time, I said, we should do something together. I'd love to interview you. And so we did that. And then he said, you know what? We should hold a mini conference. We should invite, a special Blitz day. We should invite your clients, because we had some of the top clients. So I invited Quiznos and WWE and all these other, and I shouldn't mention that because then people will say, well, you had that asset. So they wouldn't like Facebook to have a whole conference just for me because I only have, I don't know anybody. But the point was, I was able to arrange this because I was building reputation. And I don't have to, you don't have to be world class. Like I was demonstrating, like I was very serious back then about Facebook ads. And Harrison was serious about Facebook ads, and we just openly published what we were doing, and this worked and this didn't work. And here's like, I found a hack in the system where I could raise my bid to like $100 and the system would give me all the traffic, and then I would change it down to a penny, and then it would actually charge me a penny and give me a credit. And so I would just I created a script that would do that. And, it's like all sorts of like tricks that we found that were working that anybody can use on any platform. Anytime you've learned something, you can go to the experts in that field and have them on your podcast. It doesn't matter what it is. But the answer to your question is, if you want to create content with an expert in that area, you need to show that you're a disciple of that craft. Like you want to do stuff with WordPress? Okay, who are the top people in WordPress? You better show that at least you've tried to make some WordPress websites, or you've tried to do the thing. Because if you haven't at least tried to do the thing, even if that guy says, "Oh yeah, I'll be on your podcast," you have no basis of conversation. You have nothing to talk about, right? Then it's just going to be really awkward. And you could ask ChatGPT, "Oh, come up with 10 questions I can ask Dustin." That's going to be weak, okay? Because the vibe of the conversation, like your conversation, like people can tell. It's not that I check the box, like, oh, I have Dustin Reichman on my podcast. No, people are going to listen and see, was that a thoughtful conversation? Right? That, and that vibe, I think, matters more even than who it's with.
Yeah, I'd agree. And so someone sitting here, whether they're at a point in their career and they're wanting to be known for something new, or maybe they're early in their, I wanted to just be known for something. I guess the first key part of the strategy is getting clear on what you want. And then once you know what you want to be known for, then it's looking out to see who can I align with, and maybe who's the 1 degree of separation from some of these folks, and what can I do on my own to take action to learn, try, create. And then once you get that kind of initial key relationship, then it becomes that process of amplification where you take maybe even one key interview, one key conference, one key collaboration, I guess is the word I'm looking for. And then you can do all the 1-minute videos, $1 a day. You can do a lot of stuff to amplify that and make it appear way bigger than maybe it is, in the sense of the amount of effort it took to create in the first place. So I kind of like tie that together in a bow of sort of the process of how we create our name.
Yeah, online. Exactly. Have a thing you want to make money on or expertise tied to. Interview someone else, co-created content, collaboration, whatever you want to call it. $1 a day it, amplifying it. So you can put it out there on multiple channels. Danny Lee Brandt, who's one of my disciples, I told you, he says, which I agree, put it on Twitter, put it on LinkedIn, put on it, you don't have to make it different. Just paste it there, and like, why not, right? You're not trying to be a YouTuber, you're not trying to be an influencer, and that will build the right audience. You're not trying to get to 1 million followers. You're just trying to grow your agency with the right clients, or grow your SaaS, or grow whatever you're trying to grow. You're not trying to reach the entire planet.